Hello and welcome. Let's see if this message is for you. Let's start out with an oracle card and see where our energy is at coming into the reading. Let's give that one more shot. All right. There we go. Shedding the old, 38. There's a change coming your way. Cultivate a sense of adventure so that you'll be able to see the new prospects and opportunities heading your way. Underneath the deck, we have, you are safe and surrounded by love. Keep your heart open and know that you're being protected. Listen to what you know to be true and allow yourself to see and understand what's going on all around you. So maybe as things are shifting, could be you growing, maturing, moving through different life changes in your world, shifting friends and colleagues or jobs or moving house, some of these bigger changes that are going on. You're being reminded that throughout all of the changes going on, that you are safe and surrounded by love. All right, that. So this bottom card says, thanks for every single time you ever fell in love, whether or not it was obvious, whether or not it lasted, and whether or not you were loved back. It changed everything. Actually, you're always loved back. You changer the universe. Then on the other side, it says, most people are just trying to survive. So the change that you're dealing with at this time may have something to do with a breakup type vibe in some level, or, either you are moving away from something or someone, or they are moving away from you. And so throughout these, it seems like a situation where there's either some type of isolation, or it's like a transitionary period in between what was and what is coming into being. And it says here, there's a deeper reason for each of your, quote, questions. Seek that. Guidance, attention, help, maybe. Love, always. Criticism, never. The question was what to give others, if anything at all. Isn't it fun being you, the universe? So let's just go with if it's a breakup or a moving away. In the fallout space, the transition space, we're being told that if somebody's asking for feedback or advice, then yeah, we can give that. If they're just asking for their opinions to be witnessed, yeah, we can, okay, I can listen to that. And maybe you can help them in some type of way, and we can always love them. But offering criticism so rarely helps the situation. So this doesn't even have to be like a breakup. This could even be like distance in an existing situation. And so when it comes down to, let's talk about like how right now at the holiday season, as we're doing this recording, there's all this talk about gift giving. And then some of us can get into different modes where I know some people who are out there buying gifts for like their mailman that they never talk to, and all of their friends and all of their nieces and nephews and so on and so forth. And then there's other people that don't find it important to do that. So I don't know if we're talking about differences in love language and feeling for some people like, oh, I've given it all, I've given it to everyone, and then nobody gives back to me type of thing. I think we're being asked to understand that there are different love languages, and so we're always surrounded by evidence of this love, but sometimes it's up to us to be able to translate other people's love language, even if it's not necessarily the same as ours. So if you're questioning somebody's affections or attention or so on, it seems like we're being led down a road to identify something else that wants to come into our awareness. And this says ultimately it has something to do with authenticity. It says be true to yourself. You may not ever understand what's going on in their life or in their mind, but you can always figure out what's going on in yours. Tally ho, the universe. So, yeah, if you're questioning other people, it might seem like we could make some assumptions in the moment, but I don't think that serves the next level of where we're intending to go. So let's see, the DIY cards want to come out next. So what is going on here for our friends in the viewership? What is coming, going? You're feeling inspired, or someone is inspired by you, perhaps by the way that you're handling this situation. And now we have, somebody here is using a mask, having a front. So somebody may be holding up some type of a facade, a shield, or acting unbothered, or acting unaffected in some way. But it feels like they are unable to look away. It's like you are inspiring them perhaps to be a better person, but right now it's possible that they don't feel accepted by you. And because we have that criticism coming out here, this distance might be partially due to, I want to say that some people don't take it if it doesn't fit, because it's a general reading, but in your quest for being inspirational and thorough and helpful and guiding to other people, perhaps some of the things that you say are intended to be inspiring, but because this individual hasn't really reached that level of authenticity, they're feeling criticized or called out in some type of manner, perhaps. What else? There's Gemini energy here, which talks about the Castor Pollux, the light and the dark. And with that mask inspirational energy that we were just talking about, that's kind of the thing, like the golden child versus the scapegoat energy. So this could be some type of sibling rivalry where they have a lot of respect for you, but they cannot meet you where you're at this time. Whether anything will change in the near future isn't really indicated here yet, but I feel like they're not there at this time. And so try your best, if this is your situation, to not fall into criticism and some type of judgmental energy in that regard. Yes. Next, chain breaker, pattern interrupt. So I feel like there's some type of, this is another level of this. If it doesn't fit, it's not your message, but this inspirational energy, it feels as though you identified in some time in the past, potentially, as the one who was the odd man out or odd woman out, the one that wasn't really brought into the fold with the others, that you stood out in the cold looking in upon others. But then in different situations, you may have been seen as that golden child. But that, I feel like what I'm trying to get at is this chain breaker, is that because you felt on the outside or outcast, there's also a certain level of your own masking where I feel like whether it comes across as people pleasing or as always being the kind one in the room, always being the social mediator or the glue that helps individuals to live better lives or to have better relationships, to give the advice. And so there's something here, some type of level that you don't understand has already been surpassed. And so for you, it's like you're trying extra hard because you're just trying to be the best that you can be, better than you were yesterday. But it comes across to certain other people that aren't where you're at as though maybe you're trying to one up them or challenge them or, always being kind. It's like, how can you be so inspirational all the time type of a thing? It's like, that can't be genuine. That can't be real. And maybe there's a level of that because over the recent months, there's been this big uptick, upsurge in this need to identify uh, some of the lower vibrational energies such as guilt, shame, depression, pettiness, jealousy, envy, fill in the blank, with whatever it is that I think it's a whole gamut of emotional intensity, as we saw, that is kind of um, bubbling up and working its way through. Did I get that all out? Let's see what's under the deck. So some of this energy that is being expressed by yourself or the other individual or individuals in this situation, it's blocking your blessings. And so with cock block, think about how that's rooster, and rooster energy can sometimes be like, the sun doesn't rise by itself. Every day I have to get up here on this rooftop and do my cockadoodle do so the sun rises, and I'm doing that for you type energy. So it can be quite subtle, and it doesn't need to belong to our energy. It's not that it's necessarily our mode of operation here or our base level instincts, but it's all in perception. And so we need to know when the person is available for the communication, the transmission that wants to come through. And then when we find that we've overstepped, it can be important for us to just call it out as it is or like it was, because that's how we're breaking some type of patterning that comes through. It's like we might not know how we drive a wedge between ourselves and certain others. And some of that is coming forward because there's this blocking of blessings that's coming through that the ego level with the rooster and the need to be seen and to gain attention. And needing attention is not bad, but going all the way back to the sibling rivalry, this could be some type of deeply entrenched or trained, conditioned behavior where maybe there was a level of neglect or lack of attention or healthy attention in some way that then leads us to being like, well, if I have all the right answers, then clearly people will want to be around me, but then you're a know-it-all. Or, oh, if I have the best parties, everybody will want to come and hang out with me. Or if I know all the right people, then people will think well of me. They'll think that all the characteristics of everybody that I associate with also belong to me. And so there's some type or level of smoothing the edges of what you fear to be your darker side. And in context, sometimes it's coming across as very polarizing. I think that's what wants to come through there. So, okay, so maybe that's the question that you're seeking is, how do I get out of my own way to shed these old behaviors or patterns or beliefs that are blocking my process and help myself to feel safe to remove the mask, safe enough to be who I am without reservation and to understand that others are just trying to love me and I'm just trying to love them. And so then there's no shame or guilt in saying, I wasn't trying to be a pick me. I was just getting excited in the moment type of a thing, and I may have said too much, or what may have been done was based on something that was misunderstood, or that's something that you're working on. It could be an apology here, and it could be between yourself and a soulmate here, or we may be talking about your ability to really attract the soulmate that you desire. So let's see. We've got Dragon Spirit. Dragon Spirit is very empowering here. This is the year of dragon. So this whole year of 2024 has been challenging for many individuals in many different ways. The ghastly underbelly of the U.S. politics, in my way of thinking too, has brought out so much between individuals. And so it's really helping us to have the gumption to overcome and to outgrow anything that doesn't serve. We need to reassess our reasons for busyness and prioritize goals in this time. Okay, so I'm kind of sensing like that might be something related to this healing exploration or identification of what's standing in your way. Like my daughter always does this thing. She talks about the people who are like, actually, and then they have to correct everyone. And I'm also seeing how I know this one individual who I had to separate energies from in this last year, that was always questioning why I did things, how I did things. And it didn't matter if it was fast or if it was slow or if it was friendly or if it was otherwise. It didn't matter what I approached or how I tried to do it. I could have even said the traditional thing about, in Michigan, you can never tell the weather, which is like, it's the stupidest small talk phrase ever. And one time I said this, and this individual had to just like, well, and it was done in such a weird spirit. And maybe these people are this way because they are so unaware and unconscious of their effect on other individuals. But sometimes when we're around those people, it's to bring our attention back to the little nuances in our own personality of when and where we can be that person for others and how to better handle ourselves in the moment. Like if somebody's correcting you, you can be like, all right, I appreciate that, but I just am not down for a big critique right now. We don't have to stand there and listen to other people's criticism. We don't need them to sit there and always be over speaking us and giving their advice. And sometimes because of how I am, I know that I've done this type of thing to others. And it's not because I think I know better. It's because sometimes I get excited and then I'm like, oh yeah, and there's this other thing and this other thing. So I think that when we recognize these things and have the gumption to self-correct, we're on that really great pattern interrupt, chain breaking momentum. And it's just pure badassery, I want to say, in the moment. It's like, that's how we can really truly inspire people, not by knowing all the right answers, but by saying, well, I don't know 100% of the answers, but what I'm thinking is, what if we did this? Or what would you think about that? Just kind of bantering back and forth type stuff. And so there's this card that I'm thinking of that talks about how we need to be a little bit more open to that back and forth. So let's keep going. Falling for you hard. So there may be a soulmate energy here witnessing you making these big transformative shifts in your own energy here to enable you to be aligned and authentic and secure in your own personal expression of what's true and right and honest about you. Oh, under the deck, we've got romantic adventure. That's gorgeous energy. So maybe you need to clear your schedule so that you can kind of prepare yourself for something coming forward, because it looks like there's some romance potential. We do have addiction and self-medication under the deck with intensity does not equal intimacy and keep it simple. Somebody may be creeping around, checking on your energy or watching what you're about to do. And you're being asked, does this align with your higher path? What would your best friend say about it? And it's probably leading you to overthinking, stressing out, nervous, anxious energy here. And it may move by about the time of the next coming new moon. At this time, I think it's January 4th. And it should be, it should be a new moon in Capricorn, should it not? Yes, it should be in Capricorn. So let's see if any other cards want to come out here. Yeah, the addiction self-medicate one comes out. So it might be necessary to sober up in some type of way too. And even if substances aren't the thing for your addiction, but I mean like sobering up, like this whole reassess your reasons for busyness, like getting pretty lucid about where your time is kind of evaporating. Like if you're scrolling on one of your social media sites, that's like, oh, it could take hours before you could get brought back to your attention if you don't have anything else going on. But yeah, I think too, instead of scrolling on social media, that's like always in everybody else's energy, everybody else's opinions, everybody's judgments, everybody's fears, anxieties, and needs for validation. And if we're constantly immersed in that as sensitive souls, it really needs to come to a close in that way. And so this chain breaker pattern interrupt can say that it doesn't matter if our addiction looks to be somewhat healthy. Like even my mom, one of her coping things was reading books. And I just got to the library the other day and got myself a good book. And I thought about how she would read just cover to cover for days on end. And it was like, she'd come up for air once in a while, but it's like anything can be overdone. And then what happens to your life? It just evaporates. It's like every moment here is a gift, and reading other people's stories, watching the TV tell us other people's stories, watching other people's mask on things like Facebook and all those things, it can really become addictive, and it can lead us to thinking that we're not as happy as others, as blessed as others, as loved. Somebody over here that's just like, tells a stupid joke and 100 people are like, love, 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 love. And then you're over here saying something important and it's just crickets. Don't let that get you down. So let's see what else. We've got legalities, 3D contracts, disputes, and an escalation. So it could be that somebody here is in that breakup energy. And so it kind of looks like you'll need to tread carefully and make sure that one thing is resolved before moving into the next phase. And so it's like before putting a pot holder on a burner, make sure that it's not lit type of a thing. And before you start falling in love with somebody, make sure that they're available, single, and emotionally available, that they're compatible and all these things perhaps. Here we have opening up, revelation, and emergence. And I dream about you. So somebody here has been creeping in your energy, trying to get to know you and to assess their chances with you perhaps. Let's see, a few more cards. Oh boy. I wanted the one that was face up. Okay, it's coming. I'll just take them all. So we've got life force energy with those dolphins that's also over here on this safe and surrounded by love. Life force energy is all about reclaiming your essence and not letting your life pass you by. It's having the courage to step boldly into life and and being present no matter how much the journey hurts, to not push ourselves to fall into coping mechanisms that just numb us out. I mean, maybe there's a time and a place for everything, but if we're not going to feel them, then we can't integrate and release those energies. Be gentle with your energy with loving compassion. Hold compassion for others as well. And it's like when we do have these issues between people, friends, family, and loved ones, it's important to keep shining our own essence out into the world. We've got 35 luminescence. So illuminate what it is that is true in your heart to get straight on what that dragon spirit is bringing into this world, right? Because we've got that dragonfly energy around the surface of the water there. And it's like this, I see the heart monitor, and then the heart in the center of her hands, and then and so it's talking about time well spent and making sure that we carve out the time for adventures and for romance, true connectivity. And again, I talk about my daughter a lot because that's like a good part of my life. But, you know, the discussion happened with phone time, because I think that's something that almost all of us are either personally, or we know somebody that is completely caught up in their phone. It's like they can't even have a conversation without scrolling while they're talking, you know, or watching TV and scrolling, or whatever they might do. Yeah, my mom used to like have the TV on, sometimes even the radio in the next room. She'd be reading, and then we'd come in and try to talk to her and have a conversation. She'd keep reading like, and it was like, you know, overstimulation doesn't really let the connection happen. It's the way that we block other people from being seen and heard and witnessed. So the greatest compassion we can have, again, with my daughter, I told her, it's like when you first walk in the door, if somebody's standing there, you don't just avoid them and not look at them and go your separate ways. It's important to acknowledge the other individual, whether it's just like a smile, a nod, a little this. If you're in a hurry, you can be like, keep going. It's like acknowledged by, and clearly you're in a hurry. But when you're just like this, it can be like, it can be very withdrawing and very rejecting to the individual that's receiving that. And it can trigger so many deeper parts of their situation. So we've got a lot of healing energy here too, obviously, from what we're talking about. And then look at this combination. We've got 15 fire, Solaris Sublime. It's like this Kundalini awakening. Look at those dragons here. And with that soulmate energy coming through, and especially the way that the cards over the course of the last few weeks have been coming in, they kind of all build and work off of each other, if you will. And this comes out with sacral chakra, the core of creation, with those healing symbols. To me, it's talking about a great, destined, sacred love partnership for us, that's intended for us, and the necessary healing that needs to precede being able to really get the best, highest good out of this potential situation, whether we know the person or whether we're in that situation currently looking to figure things out or not. we need to stay in our love center, in the core of our heart space, and not in the ego, uh, allowing our past conditioning or our past needs to push us to act in, whether it's attention seeking ways or something else. Yes, there's a transformation happening with you. It may feel very humbling. It may feel difficult to look at certain aspects of your personality in this way, but as soon as you do, you're unlocking such a beautiful next level romantic opportunity here for yourself. But it's important to tread very carefully again, because yeah, we may not know everything. There may still be some wounded in, yeah, I just want to move on. Religious factors are a factor in this. So based on your integration of all of this, that's going to be something that necessitates another individual to reach you where you're at and able to allow them to continue to have access to you, I feel. And so you're being influenced also by your upbringing and the things and the values and the dogma and the conditioning of your past. And so is the object of your inquiry, the person that you're attracted to. It looks like you and they are really feeling it. There's passion, and it says allow your heart to sing with joy, your heart and soul. Give your relationship a chance. Work on your partnership here with great passion, transmuted into productive passion, not just criticism, right? And aggression and resentments. Getting to know each other. As you reveal your innermost selves to each other, your bond deepens. This can happen in friends, family, and so on. You know, you really need to get to the bottom of if there are fears or masks, to just let it all out and let them know about when you've screwed up. You know, call it out, apologize, and then they can see you as an individual, as a loving soul that has compassion for them and that cares about their well-being as well. And then here we have express your love. So I think that somewhat your own religious faith, doesn't have to be religion, it can be spiritualist, of course, that is going to help you make it through to navigate this situation with this other individual. And it looks like whether it's a person you're already with or one that you are attracting into your situation now, it looks like something is really breaking through. It says change yourself first. Let's see if we can get some of these sassy cards out at the end here. You are not being heard. Turn up the volume. That person better get taken care of now. And this says, listen, you still don't flip and get it. So there's something that really needs to be expressed on both behalves here. And somebody's doing too much of the work, and it's time for compromise. Stop trying to control every last thing. You have logic